There's a big difference between becoming known and becoming respected. Don't let an algorithm convince you otherwise.
I mean, I think this is probably super pertinent for people in our position. But I'll go from the internet perspective and we can circle back to IRL. But I mean, a lot of people will make content. So obviously I make stuff for me too. Like talk about artists making things for themselves. Like I make most of my tweets are just like notes to self. But like if I ever feel like I have to sacrifice who I am or the values that I believe in order to like get more views or something like that, I see it happen more times than not because the algorithm and the views and the likes become kind of a proxy for conforming in their own way. Like everyone likes this type of thing, do more of that. And that makes me feel very like dance monkey dance. And I think there's few things that kill my soul more than that. And so I would rather the algorithm shut me off tomorrow and I continue to make stuff that I find interesting, that 10 people find interesting, that is actually the same stuff as me, than just have these viral hits that I feel like I'm Ronald McDonald in, and just feel like I've completely lost my soul. And I do think, as a side note, that if you do the first one where your intention is to maybe help find the 10 people who are really interested in your thing, you probably will create more of the viral hits. But when you solve for the other way, I think you accomplish neither.
I have this theory that more creators fall out of favor because they become cringe than because they become irrelevant.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
I think it's true. I think if you think about the thing that you do, almost anything that anybody is creating is public facing, because if it wasn't public facing, it would just be a hobby. Doing your painting because you love painting is a hobby. Doing your painting to try and sell it is something that you do as a business or as a public project. The flywheel is so vicious in the positive direction and even more vicious in the negative direction. If it becomes cancerous or uncool or untrendy or catastrophic or cringe to be seen to be watching or listening to or consuming the thing that you make, you're permanently going to be swimming upstream and it is only going to get worse. Which is why you look at Shane Gillis is a really great example of this at the moment. He's someone who is great at his craft, big platform, moved to Austin, got all of the multipliers in place, but he isn't cringe.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's not cringe, if you've watched Beautiful Dogs, his Netflix special, it's not uncool. It's like there's this idea in publishing, because I've been doing my research ahead of the book. There's this idea in publishing called the subway test.
Okay.
Would someone be prepared to have the full dust jacket version of your book out on the subway?
Okay.
And if your book is like stop erectile dysfunction
I was literally
now,
saying the erection problem,
yeah,
right?
like yeah, like no more flatulence today or something. Like if that's your book, it's going to be very difficult. Or if it's written by somebody where it's like, oh, really don't want to do that. So, and this is the point where there are tons and tons and tons of people on the planet who have huge platforms that nobody respects.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen, even within my 7-year career of doing this, the arc of people trade integrity for exposure and not be able to buy it back.
Yeah.
Because there is no return policy on your integrity.
On your reputation.
And those people would give anything to be back in the cool kids club.
I mean, this is I love this entire train. I was thinking like what creates like what's timelessly not cringe, right? Like, so like if cringe is the ultimate like what we don't want, then like what is forever not cringe? And the only thing that I can like really think of is just true authenticity, which is an overused word, but again, easy to say, hard to do. I think what is forever cringe on the equal opposite side is pandering. Like whenever you're seen as someone who's only doing stuff for other people's opinion, approval, likes, whatever, especially double cringe when it's for your own personal gain. And so if the equal opposite of that is something that is to my personal detriment, that is truly something that I believe in, it honestly doesn't matter what it is. Because there are some people that probably believe things that I don't believe, but I genuinely think, based on what I see, that they genuinely believe it, and they don't really stand to gain much for believing it.
Yeah.
there's no cringe there. It's just like that man fucking believes that. And I think that some of the characters in our current, politosphere and things like that, like many people, you say the word Trump and you have half the people who hate you and the other half that love you. It's like, I think most people agree that he believes what he says. Now, whether you believe the content of what he's saying is a different story, but like, I don't think many people have called him as somebody who's like, I think he doesn't really think that about himself. Like, no, I think he really does. And even I'm just going to push the edges because that's where you have to like explore the fringe. Look at someone like Kanye, who's been borderline canceled for, multiple times, right? But like, why is Kanye, quote, uncancelable? Because he hasn't been, right? Not really. Like if he came out tomorrow with a hit album, I'll bet you it would fucking sell. Because I think that, at least for me, from what I see, I think he does what he believes. And people might be like, he's mentally unstable. There's all these other things, but like, no one thinks he's being fake. And I think that like, if that becomes the North Star of like, I just never want to become cringe, then it's just never be fake.
Alex, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. What's next? What can people expect from you next few months?
Well, all my effort is in the Skool Games. So we're, I can talk about them. I can not talk about them. Yeah. So I just made the biggest investment in my life. I'm now co-owner of Skool.com. It's a platform where you can build what you want to build, learn what you want to learn. And, schools will give you the tools, the community, and the education to help you. And so we've actually created a whole thing where people can start all this stuff for free. Because I believe my whole platform has been education. That's what I believe in. I think the education system is broken, and teachers don't get paid or given the resources to actually teach students. And they're supposed to teach tests that they know don't help students. Students get educated on stuff that doesn't matter in the real world, and they go into mountains of debt for a piece of paper that doesn't make them anything to pay off the debt that they're in for the rest of their lives. And I hate all of it, which is why we started making the content that we do. And so this is one big investment that I'm doing to try and make my small dent towards helping fix that. And I obviously talk about business. That's what I know. Okay. But one person can't do that. Like I can't change. I can try, but like, I don't think one person is going to change the world. And so, I wanted to invest in a platform that would help other people do that for one another. And so whether it's like, you know how to paint and you want to teach people to paint, you know how to fix Hondas and you want to teach people to do that. Like there are so many more useful skills that we can trade with one another. And I think Ben Franklin said, there's no more noble a deed than to help another know more, to educate. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And so, that's what I'm investing my dollars and my time into. And so, yeah, that's like my whole next year.